What's up YouTube, BMR here, and today we're going to be installing the front one-way differential as well as the brand new 4100 kV motor I have for my MA-030. So this is going to be a super simple, straightforward process. To install a new motor, all you have to do is pull the clip that holds the motor down as well as unscrew the side screw that's next to the motor. So you take those two parts off and it'll allow you to pull the motor completely off the chassis with the motor mount with it, and that'll expose the differential cover. And then you just remove your swing arm assembly and that'll expose all 4 screws for your differential cover. And removing those screws will allow you to pull that differential cover off, exposing your differential and allowing you to put the new front one-way in. So it's, like I said, it's super simple. You pull 5 screws in total in one clip and it exposes everything, as well as, taking the swing arm assembly off as well. So anyways, I also, since I'm going to have the car disassembled, I'm going to take this opportunity to clean the car as well as blow out the servo with some pressurized air and just make sure that everything's all clean and maintained. So like I said, this is a very straightforward process. So let's go ahead and get started. After installing the front one-way and closing up the differential housing, I noticed that there was a little bit of grinding coming up from the front of the car. There wasn't really any resistance, but you could definitely hear something going on. Listen right here, you can hear something. So like I said, there was a little bit of grinding going on. Something was grinding in the front end, but there wasn't a whole lot of resistance with it. So I just decided to go ahead and move on with the build, go ahead and put the motor in for now and get the car all finished and then see exactly how bad it is after I have the car assembled. Because like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of resistance. It was just a little bit of a grinding noise and I couldn't really figure out what it was. So I just decided to move on at this point. As you can hear, there's definitely some screeching coming from the front differential area, and at this point I realize that it's the screws that hold the gear to the front differential itself. Those screws are sticking out a little bit too far, and they're actually scratching the front differential housing. So at this point I realize that I need to pull the car apart again and figure out what I'm going to do, either remove some material from the differential housing itself or from maybe those screws or the differential. So initially I was going to sand in here where the screws were rubbing, but then I realized that I don't care as much about the screws as I do about the frame, and also the frame is a lot more difficult to get into. So I'm just going to go ahead and sand these screw heads and take quite a good chunk of material out of it and see how we do afterwards, test fit it. I got the screw head sanded down, as you can see. Removed a little bit of material, not too much. This is a super high grit sandpaper. I'm more polishing than anything else. But let's do our first test fit. Definitely still catching hard. You can see it. So I guess back to it I go. All right, so I've done a bit more filing, and as you guys can see, I've removed quite a bit of material from this thing. These screws, I've fitted them twice now, or at least I've polished them twice now, so let's go ahead and test fit one last time. I'm hoping this will do it. Oh yeah. That feels perfectly smooth. Let's check with this on. Seems perfect. I mean, it feels smooth. As far as I can tell, it's good. So we're going to go ahead and crack on and put this thing back together, and hopefully we will be ready to give this thing a test drive tomorrow. So keep your fingers crossed, guys. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, we got that locked down. Let's double check. Still feels super smooth. Beautiful. I think we're in business, guys. Let's crack on again. So I noticed when installing this motor, you have this little slight notch right here. So it's easiest to kind of fit it in there at an angle and kind of slip around that servo. Of course, as I'm talking, I can't do it. Hang on. There we go. So, like I said, you just kind of angle it around that motor and it'll drop in, or that servo, and it'll drop in. All right, all my screws are nice and tight, so let's go ahead and plug this motor in one last time, right? One last time. All right, guys, there we go. All right, moment of truth. Did I do a good polish job? Let's see how good my gears sound. It's still definitely grinding a little bit. It's not nearly as bad, but it's still a little distressing. Really not happy. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and go with it because I polished those screws twice, dude. I mean, I've probably spent 20-30 minutes polishing these screws, and I've taken this car apart multiple times now, so that was kind of cool taking the car apart. I've helped demystify this a little bit in my own mind a little bit, and this car doesn't feel nearly as complex as it did. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the car together, and we're going to call it good for now. Hopefully, as I drive the car, it'll wear at these parts all together a little bit better, you know, because this is a brand new front one-way differential. So hopefully everything will wear together nicely, smoothly, and, you know, after a few battery cycles through here. Hopefully everything will be nice and smooth and we won't hear that terrible screechy noise. Let's pick that up one more time. Oof, oof, terrible. All right, guys, so there we have it. That's it for this build video. I wasn't planning on filming this, honestly. I was planning on just putting these parts in, but since I got this new camera arm for Christmas, I decided to go ahead and film this. I wasn't planning on talking at all during the video. I was just kind of put these parts in here and film this just to take you guys along for the ride, but I'm very happy that I did film it since I ran into that fitment issue with the front one-way up front. That's something I've never experienced. I've never seen anybody say that they've had that issue before, so I'm really glad that I encountered it and I had it on camera so I could kind of sort it for you guys on camera, show you what I did. And I mean, everybody will probably have a slightly different approach, but I thought it was easier to just take some material off those screws. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'd say I'm about 96% happy with my job. This front end, it's still, it feels perfectly smooth. Everything feels perfectly free up here. So, I don't anticipate any issues. And as the car runs more, it'll wear this front one way in and everything will just get a little bit more broken in. You know, these are brand new, plastic gear on this diff. And also the screws were rubbing a little bit on this diff housing, but I went ahead and I polished those screws up, removed some material. So everything should be smooth in here at least. And, just over time, it'll wear itself in and it'll be perfect. So I'm really, really happy. The only thing I'm disappointed with is the fact that I didn't think in advance to get some of these little micro zip ties. It's just something I don't have in my toolbox, you know. I live in an apartment, so I have a really small toolbox. As you guys you can tell, I don't even have many zip ties, which is a staple. So anyways, I need to get those zip ties and I can go ahead and police these wires and make everything look clean, but I'm really happy with how this came out. I really like how I have these mint springs back here with this green motor up front. I think it's gonna look really good when I'm all done with the car. I'm hoping eventually I'll be able to get some more silver incorporated in here, some silver parts up front, maybe a silver motor mount. That would be really cool. But anyway, so oh no, my wire came off, guys. Oh, that bites. I was planning on driving this tomorrow at my parents' house, but now I'm gonna have to resolder this wire, and I have never soldered a thing in my life. I got a soldering iron for Christmas, or maybe it was my birthday. I don't remember. But anyways, I've never soldered anything, so now I'm going to have to learn how to solder. That sucks. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I'm really disappointed. Right at the end, I went ahead and I was rough and messed up my wires. Sorry. I'm normally more cheery at the end of my videos, but I'm really disappointed with this wire popping off. And I have seen this red wire pop off on multiple people's cars, so maybe this is just a weak point. I don't know. But anyways, all right, guys, we're going to cut it off here. Have a good night.